My fiancée slept with my brother, and the moment I learned the truth, something in me broke. Not my heart, the illusion that family guarantees loyalty. I returned the ring, kept my spine, and built a life where respect isn't a discounted luxury. I'm 29. My name is Emma. In Denver, my fiancé Ryan, 31, and I had just signed a lease and were planning a small wedding. My younger brother Jake, 27, broke up with his girlfriend, lost his place, and called in the middle of the night. "Can I crash on your couch for a couple weeks?" I said yes. My parents, Tom and Carol, have always compared us. Emma can handle it. Jake needs support. Ryan sighed, then agreed. Okay, but boundaries. The first days were quiet. Jake slept till noon. We cooked together at night. Then came the little things. He borrowed Ryan's hoodie, used my headphones, popped by Ryan's office near the coffee shop, hung out at our place during my overnight shifts. I'm an ER nurse. At a friend's party, Jake jokingly hugged Ryan. Someone filmed it for Instagram and tagged me, "Love triangle vibes." Everyone laughed except me. Week 2, Jake's duffel multiplied into a rolling suitcase, then a plastic tub labeled projects. He left a toothbrush next to mine, wet ring on the sink I just wiped. He found the spare key in the blue planter by the door we told him once, and put it on his own key ring. Our nest showed front door opens at 2:11 a.m., 3:04 a.m., 3:27 a.m. I scrolled while eating yogurt before a 7 a.m. shift. My stomach did that cold dip ER nurses get when the vitals don't match the face. Ryan started stacking boundaries like coasters. No guests after 10. Ask before borrowing tools. Don't enter our room ever. Jake nodded, grinned, did the opposite. I came home to find my lavender laundry bag overturned because your sheets smell better. Ryan's Milwaukee drill lay on the balcony in a snow flurry, battery dead. Jake's explanation: I'm building a shoe rack to help. The shoe rack tilted like a drunk. Money blurred next. Jake forgot rent for the couch contribution we'd agreed on, $400, because his card kept declining. He DoorDashed instead, ramen, wings, smoothies, a $17 matcha with oat milk. He used my Instacart because my iPad autofilled. I saw the orders at 12:03 a.m. Doritos, beef jerky, 4 Red Bulls, and the delivery note. Enter without knocking. Sister's cool. I wasn't. I tried scripts. 2 weeks means 14 days. Today is day 9. Please look at apartments. I texted links. Studios on Colfax, a garden unit in Aurora, roommate ad in Capitol Hill with a cat named Franklin. He thumbed up a single listing and sent me a reel about landlords are parasites. At dinner, he clinked Ryan's whiskey decanter like a trophy and told a story about a bar fight he didn't have. Ryan said nothing, folded his napkin twice. The chorus arrived on schedule. Mom, it's family. You don't invoice family. Dad. He's between things. Jake's friend Kyle. Sisters are built-in safety nets. My group chat, other nurses said what I already knew. Set a date, put it in writing, change the Wi-Fi. I wrote a note on the whiteboard by the fridge. Move out date. 15th. $400 due by Friday, Venmo at Emmis. Jake drew a smiley face next to it and added OL. On my next shift, Jake texted a photo of himself on our balcony in Ryan's peacoat. Caption: modeling day. He tagged Ryan. Comments bloomed. Bro looks rich. Couple energy. Ryan DM'd me the screenshot and a single period. I replied, we fixed this after my shift. At 5:40 a.m., as I charted a laceration repair, my phone buzzed again. Jake had posted a house tour. Our bedroom door was closed. He panned over it anyway, added a whisper, VIP section. The clip had 2,100 views by breakfast. I came home and did inventory like I do before a trauma. Count, verify, document. Laptop, present. Passport, present. Jewelry pouch, moved. I snapped photos, timestamps, angles, the whiteboard with LOL. I put Ryan's drill inside our locked bedroom. I tucked my grandmother's ring into a vitamin bottle labeled probiotics. Ryan stood in the doorway, jaw tight. "He's treating our home like a set," he said. I said, "Tonight, no more hints." We sat Jake down at 7 p.m. table, not couch. I printed a simple agreement. Dates, amount, no filming inside, no entry to our room, no borrowing personal items. I slid a pen across the table. He laughed. "You're making me sign a lease for a couch?" He stood, paced, filmed his own feet for a story. Day in the life. My sister the landlord. I held the boundary. Sign, or you have 48 hours. He rolled his eyes, signed, scribbled a smiley face where his middle name should be. 48 hours turned into 47 after he brought a date over at 1 a.m. and the date used my cleanser. I woke to the citrus smell on the air and 2 giggles in the hallway. I stepped out, bare feet silent on the hardwood, and said, "Calm. She leaves now." Jake smirked. The woman grabbed her tote and nearly fell into her boots. When the door clicked shut, Jake said it, the line that would harden everything like plaster. "If you don't like how I live, Emma, move out. You and Ryan can afford a hotel." I heard my voice go level. "Thanks for the option." Our engagement dinner at Maple and Pine was supposed to reset the month. Brick walls, Edison bulbs, a chalkboard with specials in lipstick cursive. Dad's toast. To Emma, our rock. Made everyone clap like they'd been rehearsing. Then the server brought a sheet cake. Edible print of Jake's balcony selfie in Ryan's peacoat. The table howled. Carol leaned to my ear. "Don't react. It rewards them." I smiled with my teeth and cut the cake into neat rectangles like I was triaging sugar. Ryan called it friends being tacky on the ride home. I said, "Then ask your tacky friends to stop tagging me." He drummed the steering wheel, promised to talk to Jake tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes for people who benefit from today. 3 days later, a trauma divert empties my ER. I hand off early and clock out at 16:02. I text Ryan home in 20. "Want pho?" No reply. The stairwell smells like dryer sheets and weed. Jake's duffel sits by the landing, half-zipped, a glove poking out like a flag. Our door is cracked. Music leaks. Synth pop, too loud for afternoon. I push in, step on my own pajama top, and no. Bedroom door open. Sheets, stripped, then not. Ryan's silver chain hangs from Jake's fingers. 2 faces at once. Panic and entitlement, like a coin caught mid-spin. "How long?" I ask, voice flat. Ryan's answer dies once, then returns, 2.5 months. Jake shrugs. "It just happened." Didn't. It calendared. It DM'd. Deleted. Repeated. I see flashes. The late deliveries. The whispered VIP section. Moms don't invoice family. The cake. I pick up my pajama top with 2 fingers and drop it into the hamper like biohazard. Then I do what I do at work when the room explodes. Task out. "Jake, get out." "Ryan, sit at the table." He sputters. I hold up a palm. "Sit." I open the Notes app. Title a page. 1620 Discovery. I snap photos. Ring box still on the dresser. My whiteboard LOL contract. The chain. I gather my passport, SS card, nurse license, the thumb drive with my tax PDFs. I slide my grandmother's ring back out of the probiotic bottle, tuck it into my bra, feel the cold against sternum. Ryan tries a line he must have practiced. "We didn't want to hurt you. You wanted shelter and praise." I say, "You wanted me to host the mess you made." He looks at the floorboards. Jake packs loudly on purpose, zippers like cymbals, saying, "Relax, M. We're consenting adults. Consenting adults can leave." I say, "Now." Jake's sneakers squeak down the hall at 16:33. Door shuts. The nest chimes. I sit opposite Ryan and put my phone on the table between us like a third witness. "Here is what's going to happen," I say. "We will end the engagement. I will recover my deposits and split prepaid vendors per contract terms. You will vacate by Friday 1800 hours. You will return your copy of the keys and remove your belongings under my supervision. No guests, no overnights, no commentary online. Violate once. Police non-emergency." He nods small like he's in triage now. I'm sorry, he says. You're sorry you're caught, I answer. Different thing. I drive to my parents because I need a neutral kitchen table to stage the rest. Dad exhales when he sees my face. A long old man breath that says he's been waiting. Your mother suspected something, he says carefully. Carol won't meet my eyes. There's a cake carrier on the counter with 2 missing slices. The image lands. They both knew enough to prepare silence as hospitality. You knew and you kept inviting him to dinner, I say. We wanted to keep the peace. Mom says, as if peace is a casserole. You kept the performance, I correct. I open my laptop and search, Denver family law engagement ring conditional gift. I paste 3 results into a folder. I pull our wedding spreadsheet, deposits. Venue $2,500, florist $600, DJ $400, dress $900 down, photographer $1,200 retainer. I highlight clauses, non-refundable, transferable, reschedule fee. I write vendors an email template, change of plans, cancel, confirm any partial refund. Please advise on transferring credit. I BCC my new folder so future me has receipts. Then I vet Ryan's access. He's an authorized user on one of my cards. Not joint. I remove him at 1811. I change Wi-Fi, iPad, streaming, Nest, Ring. I revoke his garage opener in the HOA app. I move my Honda Civic spare fob to my scrubs pocket. I inventory the safe, passport, checked earlier, birth certificate, vaccination card, grandmother's ring, now on me, small cash envelope, $240. I photograph each item with a sticky note date. At 19:05, I call an attorney I pulled from a nurse Slack, Amara Patel. Her assistant answers, schedules a consult for 8:30 tomorrow. Asks me to email my lease, vendor contracts, and any messages. I forward it all from the new folder. Ticket number lands in my inbox. AP 1173. At 19:40, Ryan texts, "Can we talk without lawyers?" I reply, "No. Your counsel welcome." He sends, "Please." I put the phone face down. I Venmo request Jake $400 with the memo couch license. Past due. He instantly declines and adds a laughing face. I screenshot. I don't sleep at the apartment. I book a bed at my coworker Tasha's spare room for a week. $200. Key under a succulent. I pull into her alley at 2112 with 2 banker's boxes, my hanging bag, and the sense that my life split along a quiet hinge I didn't hear until it moved. Tasha opens in socks and a hoodie. She looks at my face once and says, "T first, word second." I hand her my bullet list instead. She reads, nods at each verb. Cancel, revoke, transfer, freeze, file. Cold clarity, she says softly. I hang the dress bag in her closet, lay the ring box on her dresser, lock my car. Text Dad, "Safe. Please don't host Jake." He replies, "We love you." I type, delete, type again. Love without boundaries is a cake with my face on it. No send. I let the draft sit with the others, unsent but true. Tomorrow is for lawyers and locksmiths. Tonight I sleep under a blue quilt that smells like cedar and detergent. Phone on Do Not Disturb. Evidence back to cloud. Door latch twice. I file the name change petition the Monday after we meet with Amara. County clerk, window C, stamp smacking paper like a gavel. At 10:42 a.m., Emma Lawson returns to legal existence. I walk to the DMV with a folder. Decree, birth certificate, lease addendum, passport photo that looks like a warning. Banks next. Authorized user purges already done. Now I fix the headers, debit card, checks, direct deposit. The teller asks if I want a new design. I choose the plain blue one that doesn't tell a story. I update HR, the Board of Nursing, the hospital badge office. New badge printed 1415. Laws 0N, RN, AR. I slide it into the lanyard like armor. I meet my manager at 16:30. I'm requesting a transfer, I say. Portland. Any shift. She doesn't pry. Our people respect triage. She sends a blitz of emails. Staffing, credentialing, relocation. The system spits back a ticket number, TR 2046. 2 days later, staffing calls with an opening at a sister hospital near Laurelhurst Park. Night shifts. Start date in 6 weeks. I say yes before they finish the sentence. I text my cousin Mila, who lives in Portland with a dog named Moose. She finds a microstudio 3 blocks from the park. Top floor, East Light, 380 square feet with a built-in dresser that sticks and a clawfoot tub someone painted mint. Rent $1,210. Security $600. Landlord is a retired electrician named Ray who fixes things the day you ask. Everything becomes numbers and confirmations. USPS change of address email at 9:07. New internet install window 12 to 4 o'clock Friday. Renter's insurance policy #H88314. I order a steel mailbox lock and a door bar. I buy a second safe small enough to fit under the sink. Receipts live in a new folder called Portland. Proof. I set no contact in writing. 1 email to each: Ryan, Jake, my parents. Effective immediately. Do not contact me except through counsel. Do not tag, text, mail, or attend my workplace. Violation will be documented. I BCC Amara. Ryan replies with 3 paragraphs of regret and a photo of peonies. I archive. Jake replies with a selfie captioned, "It be like that." I screenshot and archive. My mother writes, "Be more mature." I forward to my therapist and mute the thread. Therapy Thursdays at 11 o'clock become the bridge between Denver and whatever comes after. Dr. Chen asks, "What life do you want when no one's watching?" I answer easily. Mornings that are mine, a door that closes, calls I choose to return. She nods. Designed to that. So I do. I sell the dress on a resale app, pick up at a Starbucks, cash counted inside the envelope like a hostage exchange. I box the cake topper and drop it at Goodwill. I give the florist credit to another nurse getting married in September. She Venmos me half. The venue keeps the deposit. I rename that line tuition. Portland smells like rain and coffee. I move with 2 suitcases, 3 banker's boxes, my grandmother's ring on its chain. Mila helps me carry the mattress in a box up 3 flights. Ray tightens the deadbolt while Moose supervises. I buy a $39 thrifted table and 2 mismatched chairs. I put my name on the buzzer with a label maker. LAWSON. The tape a little crooked. It looks like hope. Night shifts reset my clock. I wake at 1400 hours, walk laps around Laurelhurst with a thermos, start at 1900 hours. New codes, same chaos. The charge nurse calls me steady hands. I buy a pottery punch card and make lopsided bowls that look earnest. I join a book club that actually reads. Saturdays, I ride the 75 bus to the farmer's market and learn the names of apples. Months stack, slow and round. I cook one-pan dinners, learn where the grocery hides the good bread, label my totes, pay bills the day they arrive. I relock the door every time. I laugh out loud in my own kitchen and don't have to explain why. My phone stays on Do Not Disturb unless I decide otherwise. I choose otherwise less and less. Ryan sends bouquets to the hospital front desk. Volunteers reroute them to oncology. He mails letters to the old address. Return to sender, comes back stamped like a verdict. Jake posts a studio selfie with a caption, when you know, the same peacoat visible in the mirror. I don't engage. Screenshot, file, close. The chorus fades when it isn't fed. 3 months in, I find a rhythm. 5th floor sunrise through blinds, tea that tastes like clean water, clay under my fingernails, a bookshelf half filled. I start thinking about a middle name, something that belongs only to me. Not yet. Soon. Then the envelope arrives. Cream, heavy, calligraphy, Denver postmark, my legal name spelled correctly. I feel the old prickle anyway. Inside. An invitation to Jake and Ryan's wedding at the same country club where ours was booked. Date circled. Registry link. Dress code garden formal. A handwritten note from Carol tucked in. Be a bridesmaid, like he would have been at yours. I photograph everything. The envelope with postmark, the note with her loops, the RSVP card. I scan it into Portland, proof. Then I feed paper to the shredder I bought at Office Depot the week I unpacked. The blades hum. Confetti gathers in the bin like a small storm I controlled. I wash my hands, make tea, and take Moose for a lap around the park. The air smells like wet leaves and relief. My phone buzzes on the counter, face down. I let it. 3 years and a handful of new keys later, the doorbell rings at 18:02 while I'm chopping fennel. Laurel hissed light, early autumn, Moose asleep like a coiled rope. I wipe my hands, check the peephole, and freeze at the silhouette I once knew by shoulders alone. Ryan thinner, suit sharp, eyes hollow like an overdrawn account. I need closure, he says, already bracing for the hinge to close. I step onto the doormat and keep the door mostly behind me. Boundaries. A literal inch of wood. You've got 5 minutes, I say, phone recording in my pocket, screen dark but awake. He talks fast, like a witness who finally realized the oath had consequences. Says Jake targeted him before the couch. Months of accidental late-night hangs. DMs that disappeared in vanish mode. Comments under thirst traps. Says the cheating continued after the wedding, different names, same script. Borrowed hoodie, borrowed stories, borrowed money. He says the marriage collapsed in a year and a half after a blowout over a hotel charge that wasn't his. He looks at my hands like he expects to see a ring he recognizes. He doesn't. Thank you for telling me. I say evenly. I knew enough. Do you hate me? He asks. I don't spend hate on the past, I answer. I itemize it. Then I zero it out. He nods at my door, at the plants I keep alive, at the blue runner rug. You look okay. I say and mean it. We stand in the kind silence that used to scare me and doesn't anymore. His 5 minutes end themselves. He leaves with a small exhale, and I return to the fennel, slice thin, add lemon, taste for salt. Life kept going because I told it to. I met Nick when the restaurant around the corner needed a nurse for a choking guest. The Heimlich worked. The woman cried. Nick comped her dessert and slid me a plate of warm olives and citrus. He is 34, runs a kitchen like a symphony, labels his spice bins, calls his mom, looks at problems like their recipes. Components, heat, time. Our first real date was a walk to the food carts and a game where we guessed how dishes were built. My answers were cautious. His were generous. He said, "You can add salt later. You can't take it out." Felt like a life rule. Ryan's second appearance happens 6 months after the first. Lunch rush, Saturday, my table by the window, Nick in chef whites. Ryan stands in the doorway, suit again, thinner still. I feel Nick notice me and walk over, calm sand in a wave. Ryan asks for 5 minutes to tell the truth. I nod once and keep Nick beside me. He unspools new specifics like receipts I didn't request. Jake had affairs with married clients from his agency. He begged Ryan to borrow $18,000 for an album drop that never dropped, then ghosted for 6 weeks and returned with someone else's hoodie and a matching tattoo. Ryan says he sold a watch to cover a studio deposit and learned the studio was a friend's garage. I should have listened to you, he says. You had the manual, I reply. You ignored the warning lights. Ryan leaves a letter. I hand it back. No paper trails between us, I say. He tries a small smile, fails, and goes. Nick squeezes my shoulder once. Later he asks if I'm okay. I say, I am not entertained by autopsies. He nods, changes the subject to the new supplier for tomatoes. I keep my rituals, therapy, runs, clay, book club. I also keep my firewall, document, decide, detach. When Carol emails a forwarded photo of Jake at some poolside thing with a caption God works in mysterious ways, I flag it, archive, and move the filter up another notch. When Dad sends checking on you, I reply with a selfie of me and Moose at the lake, and he writes, proud of you, kiddo. That's the relationship I keep. Nick and I marry by a lake because water resets me. We invite 20 people we actually like. No open mic. No centerpieces that require a forklift. No toasts built on someone else's bones. My dress is simple. My ring is a tiny band I bought myself on a day I felt steady. Nick adds to it with a thin gold whisper. We write vows that promise boring things. Punctuality, dishes, telling the truth the first time. Mila officiates. Moose wears a bow tie and sleeps through the whole thing like he approves. We build a home where respect isn't a discounted luxury. We have a shared spreadsheet for bills, a whiteboard for chores, a standing Thursday budget talk where we bring snacks instead of blame. My grandmother's ring sits in a shadow box with a small note. Choices. We hang it by the door like a smoke alarm we test. Closure never arrived as a grand crescendo. It arrived as clean indifference layered slowly, like lacquer. Ryan's apologies were data. Jake's chaos, weather in another city. I don't forgive and I don't forget. I file and the cabinet locks. Sometimes I walk past the country club on a trip to Denver to see Dad. I park, breathe, leave. No anger. Just a silent audit of how near I came to building a life out of other people's unfinished projects. Then I text Nick a photo of the lake and he sends back a picture of the prep list with Emma at the top, circled twice. Silence held for a year and then cracked at 2:11 a.m. Denver area code. 3 missed calls. A voicemail that began with my full name. Emma, it's urgent. Call me. Dad. I listened in the dark, the fan a low helicopter. Second voicemail. Jake. Horse. Sis, I messed up. I need help. I put the phone face down and watched the ceiling for a minute, the old reflex asking for permission to panic. Then I slid into protocol. At 6:30 I returned Dad's call from the kitchen, notebook open. He spoke in the soft voice he uses with bad test results. Stage 4 kidney failure. Creatinine numbers I wrote down, dates of labs, a dialysis schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 o'clock. A social worker had mentioned preemptive family testing. Dad said, "We were wrong before. Please don't punish him with your body." I heard the unasked, "Be the bigger person." It used to work like a key. At 9:12 I called Dr. Chun. 2 tracks, she said. Medical facts and family narrative. Don't let them braid. We built a list. Questions for the transplant center. Boundaries for communication. No group texts. No surprise house visits. Every request in writing. I emailed the coordinator at the Denver program and asked about out-of-state donors. She replied in 15 minutes with a PDF, evaluation steps, psychological clearance, medical leave forms, independent donor advocate contact. I told Nick that night at 2010 in the dish pit while he stacked pans like silver shields. He dried his hands, leaned on the metal table and asked, "What do you need from me if you say yes? What do you need if you say no?" The relief of being asked both questions. We sketched calendars, coverage, worst case and best case. Who sleeps on which couch? I booked testing in Portland to start. Blood type confirmed O+, cross-match shipped to Denver. Monday at 8 o'clock I watched my vials line up like a little red skyline. Wednesday the call. You're a 6-6 HLA match. That's rare. The nurse's voice was bright, practiced. Remember, you owe nothing. Independent advocate will review coercion and finances. I wrote it down, you owe nothing. Mom broke her own silence at 17:22 with a group email. Subject line, family. She attached a selfie of Jake hooked to tubing, eyes glassy. Be mature. We will cover everything. I replied individually. From now on, only the transplant team and the advocate. No pressure messages. 10 minutes later, she forwarded an GoFundMe link with my name tagged in the story. I reported it for unauthorized use and took screenshots. The family meeting happened on Zoom that Sunday at 1500 hours. Squares. Dad in a polo, Mom clutching a tissue that never touched her eyes, Jake pale, a social worker muted and patient. I opened with my ground rules. I'm exploring donation for my conscience, not for a narrative. If I proceed, there will be no posts, no second chances speeches. No, she saved her brother photo ops. And I will not bankroll anything. Dad nodded. Mom said, of course, then added, just one thing. And a number slid onto the table like a card. $35,000. Medical debt, back mortgage payments, bridging costs. Could you loan it? she asked, talking soft and fast. We'll sign a note. No, I said, calm like a suture. No money. No family therapy on my dime. No copying my boundaries into a redemption story. Jake stared. I'm dying, he said, the line delivered like an invoice. You're my perfect match. I'm also a person, I answered. And I remember the couch contract you laughed at. The social worker unmuted. Emma's decision must be free of pressure, she said, voice steady. We will document all communications. We ended the call on logistics. The advocate phoned me the next morning at 9:05. She asked about safety, coercion, finances, my support system, whether anyone had tied money to my organ. I told her everything, dates, screenshots. Thank you, she said. You can stop any time, including on the gurney. Our team will be the reason. You will not. Nick and I walked the lake at dusk and did the math out loud. Operative risks, recovery time, time off, 4 to 6 weeks. My hospital's leave policy, his schedule. Moose boarding if both of us were down for a day. I will support yes, he said. I will support no. I will not support pressure dressed as virtue. I slept on it 2 nights and woke with the answer already formed like a healed scar. I called the advocate at 8:31 and said, I'm declining. Then I emailed the transplant team, CC'd her, and wrote, please remove me from consideration. This is my final decision. I copied the sentence into a note titled Choices. At 10:12 I emailed my parents and Jake the same line. Dad replied, we're disappointed but we love you. Mom wrote, be more mature. Jake sent nothing for a week, then posted a black square story with a heart emoji and family over everything. I muted, archived, documented. Dr. Chun asked how my body felt after I pressed send. Like I finally stopped bracing, I said. 6 months later, word threaded through the grapevine. A distant cousin, Dad's aunt's grandson from Pueblo, was a compatible donor and proceeded. Surgery went well. Jake posted a photo of his scar and a caption about grace. I stayed blocked and busy. The world did not end because I said no. It got clearer. Life widened the way a door does when you stop standing in front of it. Nick and I had 3 kids, 2 daughters and a son who arrived with the dawn. We named them ordinary names that felt like clean water. I stayed nights in the ER and moved up to charge nurse. Nick opened a small waterfront bistro with 8 tables and a chalkboard that only listed what we actually had. We kept a whiteboard calendar on the fridge, soccer scrimmages, call shifts, inventory, muffins for class, date night penciled in like any other non-negotiable. The kids know my rules the way they know where the bulls live. Doors close and we knock. We don't film each other without asking. If you borrow, you bring it back charged. On Thursdays, everyone brings a win and a fix. One thing they did well, one thing they'll improve. Nickel words for big ideas. Respect isn't a performance at our house. It's how we stack the dishwasher. My parents don't know the grandkids. That too is a boundary, not a weapon. Years passed like polite neighbors waving. Present, parallel, separate. Dad sent a few, how are you, texts I answered with weather and photos of Moose in a raincoat. Carol forwarded scripture memes and, once, a picture of Jake laughing by a pool with people I didn't recognize. I filtered, archived, marked time by the things I chose. School concerts, staff meetings, succulent cuttings that lived. On a Tuesday 10 years in, I bumped into Carol near the grocery store bulk bins. She was older in the eyes, softer at the jaw, hand hovering above a scoop like she'd forgotten what she meant to buy. We both froze, then did the small talk shuffle. When I started to edge away, she reached for my sleeve and stopped before touching me. We finally understand, she said. We're sorry. We should have protected you. We thought peace meant pretending. I listened. I believed the regret. I did not move the boundary. Thank you for saying that, I answered. I wish we'd all made different choices sooner, but my kids' safety and my peace aren't up for renegotiation. She nodded like someone tasting a spice they can't name and knows they can't cook with. We parted with a cart between us and a decade behind. At home, I told Nick. He poured coffee and slid me a plate with 2 chocolate chip cookies still warm from the afternoon bake at the bistro. The kids drew at the table, pencils tapping, the middle one narrating a dragon who only roared, "Please" and "Thanks." The sauce simmered on low, garlic, tomatoes, basil, the kind of smell that announces patience. Moose snored under the bench. I felt the truth land fully in my body, as ordinary and huge as breathing. My fiancé and my brother, now demoted to footnotes in a life I outgrew, taught me the only lesson that mattered. Family doesn't guarantee loyalty. I returned the ring, kept my spine, and refused to fund other people's appetites with my peace. I learned to label what hurts and to lock what matters. When people call that cold, I hear clear. We built a house where respect isn't a luxury item on a wedding registry. It's the daily special. It's the note Nick leaves on the bistro prep list, Emma first. And the way he wipes the counter before he kisses me hello. It's our teenager texting home by 9, battery 48% without being asked. It's my staff knowing I will back them when a family member mistakes our kindness for access. It's a spare key locked in a small gray box with a code only we know. Sometimes I'm asked if I forgave them. I say I don't keep that ledger anymore. I keep records. Dates, screenshots, receipts, then I file in live. I didn't need revenge. I needed boundaries, work, and people who choose me every day. That's my happy ending, quiet and real. After dinner, we take bowls to the sink in a line, the littlest humming off-key. I rinse, Nick dries, the kids argue lightly about whose turn it is to feed Moose. Rain starts, in Portland it always does, and the windows blur. The lake beyond the trees darkens to slate. I set tomorrow's lunchboxes in the fridge and the house exhale feels like a song I wrote myself. I lock the door twice. I check the safe once. I kiss 3 foreheads, flip 3 switches, set 1 alarm. The whiteboard gleams. The calendar waits. I climb into a bed that is only mine and ours, pull the quilt up to my chin, and sleep with both eyes closed.